There are places in the world where living was never meant to be easy. Land shaped by cliffs, mountains, water, and isolation, where the environment itself resists human settlement. And yet, people stayed. They adapted. These are 15 villages built not for comfort, but for survival. Real communities, still living in places that seem impossible. Number 15. Gambier, Benin. In the south of the country on Lake Nokwe, Gambier exists entirely above the water. Homes supported by wooden stilts form a continuous network where there are no streets, only canals. Daily life unfolds at water level. People move by small boats, children learn to row at an early age, and routines follow the rhythm of the lake. The settlement dates back centuries when this environment provided protection from external threats, turning the lake into a natural refuge. Today, Gambier still functions as an active floating city with markets, schools, and communal spaces fully integrated into the aquatic landscape. It doesn't feel like a village placed on water, but one that was born from it. Number 14. Alberobello, Italy. In southern Italy, Alberobello stands on solid ground, yet its architecture makes it just as unusual. The village is formed by hundreds of truly cone-shaped stone houses built without mortar, using local limestone. What began as a practical response to ancient tax rules slowly shaped a completely unique urban landscape. The houses cluster tightly together, creating narrow streets and irregular perspectives that break from traditional architecture. Each trullo carries its own identity, marked by symbols and subtle variations in form. As light changes throughout the day, the stone shifts in color, and at sunset the village feels almost unreal. Alberobello doesn't challenge nature through isolation, but by turning an extreme construction solution into a living town that still exists today. Number 13. Huacachina, Peru. In the coastal desert of southern Peru, Huacachina appears as a geographical anomaly. A small oasis surrounded by massive sand dunes holds a village suspended between reality and mirage. The central lagoon defines the settlement, while the desert rises abruptly in every direction. There are no gentle transitions here. Water and sand meet instantly. Throughout the day, light constantly reshapes the landscape. At sunrise and sunset, the dunes glow in gold and red tones, enveloping the village in an unreal atmosphere. Huacachina began as a resting point along ancient routes and became a permanent community in an environment where everything moves except the oasis itself. Its isolation and fragility make it one of the most improbable villages in South America. Number 12. Piaudão, Portugal. In the mountains of central Portugal, Piaudão hides among steep, forested slopes. Built almost entirely from dark slate, the village blends so completely with the mountain that from a distance it's hard to tell where rock ends and homes begin. Houses stack along the natural incline, connected by narrow stairways and irregular passages instead of traditional streets. There are no open plazas or wide spaces. Everything responds to the need to survive on limited, abrupt terrain. For centuries, isolation preserved its original layout. Piaudão was never designed to expand, only to endure, and that logic still defines its identity today. Number 11. Koh Phangan, Thailand. In Phang Nga Bay, Koh Phangan rises entirely above the sea, supported by a dense network of wooden stilts. The village developed around a massive vertical limestone rock, using every available meter to build homes, walkways, and communal spaces. There is no solid ground here. Everything floats or stands above the water. Daily life revolves around fishing, wooden corridors, and narrow platforms that connect the entire settlement. One of its most striking features is a football field built on stilts, a clear symbol of how far adaptation has gone. Kopanyi began as a fishing village and continues to exist under the same logic, proving that permanent life can take shape even in places once considered uninhabitable. Number 10. Vernazza, Italy. On the Ligurian coast, Vernazza occupies the narrow space where mountains drop sharply into the sea. Colorful houses cluster around a small natural harbor, compressed between rock and water in a compact vertical composition. There is no room to expand. The terrain defines every boundary. Narrow streets lead directly into stairways that climb toward terraces, viewpoints, and cliffside paths. The sea is a constant presence, visible from almost anywhere in the village. Vernazza was not designed to grow but to adapt, turning geographic limitation into its most defining feature. Number 9. Calcata, Italy. In central Italy, Calcata stands on a rocky outcrop rising from a deep forested valley. The old village occupies the summit with stone houses pressed tightly together as if no other option ever existed. Its layout feels carved rather than built, defined by narrow streets, stairs, and enclosed passages. For decades, Calcata was nearly abandoned, which helped preserve its structure and its atmosphere suspended in time. Today, life slowly returns through small workshops, open doors, and quiet courtyards. Calcata doesn't dominate the landscape. It clings to it, accepting exposure and fragility as part of its identity. Number 8. Batad, Philippines. In the mountains of northern Philippines, Batad sits at the center of a natural amphitheater formed by ancient rice terraces carved directly into the slopes. The village is not defined by large buildings, but by its complete integration with the agricultural landscape that has sustained it for generations. Homes follow the natural curves of the terrain, connected by narrow paths that wind between crops, stone walls, and steep drops. Mist appears and disappears throughout the day, constantly reshaping the sense of space and reinforcing the village's isolation. Batad cannot exist without its terraces. They are landscape, infrastructure, and livelihood at the same time. Here, danger is quiet, present in every steep incline and in the community's total dependence on the mountain. Number 7. Monemvasia, Greece. Connected to the mainland by a narrow causeway, Monemvasia rises from the Mediterranean Sea as a massive rock formation, almost like a natural fortress. The medieval village occupies its base and slopes, once protected by walls that isolated it from the outside world for centuries. Cobblestone streets form a dense, enclosed network where narrow passages and stone arches create a constant sense of enclosure. Buildings appear to merge with the rock, and sudden drops remind visitors how close the sea and the void truly are. Life here was always shaped by defense and geography. At sunrise and sunset, light reveals the texture of the stone and the compact nature of the settlement. Monemvasia did not adapt to the terrain. It clung to it, turning its extreme location into its greatest protection. Number 6. Bunjin Island, Indonesia. Off the coast of Sumbawa, Bunjin Island concentrates thousands of people on an extremely small area, completely surrounded by the sea. There are no wide streets or open squares. Homes stand on stilts and connect through narrow walkways, forming a continuous network above the water. The settlement grew gradually, expanding outward by reclaiming space from the sea using simple materials. Daily life unfolds among fishing boats, drying nets, and constant movement across elevated paths. The fragility of the environment is impossible to ignore. Tides, storms, and permanent humidity shape everyday existence. Living on Bunjin Island means accepting risk as a permanent condition and relying on collective balance to sustain a village that, in theory, should not exist. Number 5. Rainy, Norway. In the Lofoten archipelago, Rainy spreads across small islands connected by bridges, surrounded by steep mountains and the cold waters of the North Atlantic. The village began as a fishing community and still maintains a direct relationship with the sea, visible in its docks, boats, and traditional structures. Homes are placed wherever the terrain allows, often just meters from the water and the rocky edges of the islands. In winter, snow covers rooftops and paths while the sea remains active nearby, creating a sharp contrast between visual calm and a hostile environment. Here, climate and geography set the rules. Rain feels remote not by choice but by nature, and that condition defines its identity. Number 4. Miravet, Spain. Along a wide curve of the Ebro River, Miravet rises on a rocky hillside that shapes the village entirely. Homes are arranged across multiple levels, aligned with the slope, creating a stepped composition where architecture and terrain feel inseparable. Stone dominates facades, walls, and streets, reinforcing a strong sense of unity. At the top, the medieval castle stands as a historical and symbolic anchor, integrated into the village skyline without overpowering its scale. The urban layout did not follow a fixed plan, but a gradual adaptation to the land. Miravet does not impose itself on the landscape. It settles into it using every available space while preserving the natural balance of the valley. Number 3. Ushguli, Georgia. In the heart of the Caucasus Mountains, Ushguli stretches across a broad valley surrounded by peaks that define the horizon year-round. The village is composed of stone houses and medieval defensive towers, creating a distinctive and repetitive silhouette. These structures stand out not individually, but as a unified whole that follows the natural contours of the land. Daily life revolves around open spaces, dirt paths, pastures, and streams crossing the valley. For much of the year, life moves at the rhythm of seasons, agriculture, and close-knit community living. In winter, snow transforms the landscape, softening colors and volumes without altering the village's structure. Ushguli preserves a stable form of settlement where architecture responds to climate, duration, and a direct relationship with the mountains. Number 2. Hopu, Faroe Islands. In the northern Faroe Islands, Hopu sits within a landscape shaped by time, where green hills, volcanic rock, and the ocean form a single system. The village takes its name from a natural inlet that descends toward the sea, historically serving as a connection between the community and the surrounding waters. Small, compact houses follow the contours of the land, with grass-covered roofs and muted colors that blend into the environment. Life here unfolds on a modest scale, defined by close relationships between neighbors, shared spaces, and the natural world. The climate is always present, influencing daily life without dominating it. Hopu does not stand out through size or monumentality. It exists in precise balance within a vast, open, and ever-changing landscape. Number 1. Hanging Valley Village, China. In China's Hunan province, this village unfolds within a deep valley where traditional wooden architecture appears suspended between cliff and river. Homes cling directly to the rock face, following its natural shape and creating an unusually vertical settlement even by mountain standards. By day, the village blends into the green, humid landscape of the valley, while the river moves quietly below. At night, everything changes. Warm lights illuminate walkways, balconies, and narrow plazas, reflecting off the water and transforming the village into a glowing scene. Red lanterns, curved roofs, and traditional details reinforce its identity without breaking the harmony of the setting. This village does not seek to dominate the landscape. It engages in dialogue with it, using height, wood, and stone to create a place that feels born directly from the valley, closer to a living tradition than to a modern town. These villages show how far humans can adapt to the most extreme places. If you want to see what the planet itself has created, you can watch the next video called 13 Shocking Geological Marvels on Earth.